Hello traders, welcome on a daily analytical report. My name is Tomasz Wiśniewski. I'm a chief analyst in Alpari Research and Analysis, and I will show you what's going on the markets. We'll try to look for decent trading setups on the forex, on currencies, commodities, and indexes. So let's start. We always need to start with the macro calendar. Because, for example, you need to know that we will have an important data for the Canadian dollar, which will be retail sales and inflation, which will be shown in 3.5 hours. So why you need to check the calendar? Because if you trade on Canadian dollar, or if you're thinking about opening the position on Canadian dollar, and you have high risk aversion, you don't want to trade on risky assets, or you're avoiding high volatility, you should not trade Canadian dollar at the moment. But at the same time, if you're a trader that seeks for volatility, for violent movements, well, that's the time for you. So if you treat the market like a lottery, it will go up or down. You can open a position on Canadian dollar and wait for the movements in 3.5 hours. I try to avoid volatility, unexpected movements. I don't like to trade during the data, so that's why I'm not gonna open any position with Canadian dollar. Apart from that, we will have speeches from members of the Fed, which can be influential on the American dollar. Let me show you what will happen next week. Because, well, it's Friday, so you need to know what you should expect. Like if you, for example, you want to open a position and keep it for the weekend, you need to know what is going to happen next week. On Monday is usually very quiet. It's not different this time. We will just have Fed speak. So Fed members talking, maybe they will give some insights about the policy. Tuesday is the same. Tuesday is surprisingly empty. Maybe let me show you like this. Tuesday is surprisingly empty. Fireworks will start on Wednesday, where we have inflation from UK, so definitely data important for the British pound, and FOMC minutes. On Thursday, we will have retail sales from UK, trading data, trade data from New Zealand, so definitely important for the New Zealand dollar. And that will be it. ECB monetary policy meeting for Euro, and on Friday, not much, just a speech from Jerome Powell, Fed chairman, and GDP from UK. So next week will be fairly quiet, not like this one, for example. That being said, let's move to the charts. I will start with three interesting reversal setups. First one is euro dollar. Euro dollar is in a long-term downtrend, as you can see. Most recently what we had was a flag. We broke the lower line of the flag, which was a negative sign. The price went significantly lower. That was a very good trade. I traded that. I sold here. I closed my position here. Maybe a bit too early because the price went lower, but still, it was a good trade. And now we can see signs of a possible reversal, because that's a pennant, and pennant should result with a breakout of the lower line of this formation. And instead of that, we broke the upper line of this formation, and very often pennants at the same time are inverse head and shoulder formations, or head and shoulder formations. Like in this case, left shoulder, head, and right shoulder. Here we got a breakout of the upper line of this pennant. And this resistance here worked. So as long as we are below this horizontal resistance, there is no buy signal, but price breaking that resistance, closing hourly candle above that resistance will be significant buy signal on euro dollar, aiming at least the gray area here. So that would give like a decent risk to reward ratio, because for example you go with your stop loss here, it's pretty safe, and you aim here, it's almost 3-1 in terms of the risk to reward ratio. So a desirable number. The same situation, well, similar situation can be seen in gold, but gold is even stronger because it's happening in an important place. This important place is long-term uptrend line. As you can see here, that's a long-term uptrend line on gold. On a daily chart, we do have two pin bars, which may result in a reversal. But for that, we need to see the breakout of this blue line and this green resistance. That will be a triple bottom formation. We try to break this resistance today unsuccessfully, which may be a very negative, well, which is a negative factor for now, but the day has not ended yet. We still may be experiencing a breakout here, but I would say that trading signal will be created once the price will break the green area. So there would be a buy here, stop loss here on $5, and potential target is here on $10. Also good risk to reward ratio, 2-1, almost 3-1, because here would be like $4.50 and here almost 12. So yeah, also very interesting setup, and that's just the first target. The price can go higher without any problems. Actually, come back above the blue area would be a super strong buy signal, because that was an important support. So come back above here would be a full breakout. So that would be a very, very strong buy signal. But in the same time, failure to hold above the uptrend line and failure to use this triple bottom formation can cost sellers a lot. The problem is that you cannot open position here, because it always can result with a hammer or something, and the first price where you can sell according to the technical analysis is somewhere here below those lows. I wouldn't be a fan of this option. I'm not a fan of sell stop orders anyway, but let's assume that there is support like that. So even a breakout here should result eventually with something like that, and that would be a good place to sell. But we'll see what the price will do. Australian dollar to Canadian dollar, also very similar situation. So what we have here is an inverse head and shoulder formation, left shoulder, head and right shoulder, and it's also happening on a very important support. As you can see, it's a horizontal support which is relevant from the beginning of 2017. As you can see, January 2017, and then November, and then December, and then beginning of May, and now the price is creating an inverse head and shoulder formation on this chart. Breakout of the line itself, yes, can be positive, but I would wait for the confirmation and price making new weekly highs. Price making new weekly highs would be a significant sign for me to go long. With the potential target, let's check the Fibos. It's usually like around 38.2. That's a fairly safe estimation that the price will aim 38.2. I think that there is like kind of support here, resistance here. So also opening position here, depending from the stop loss order. I think it's too big here. Somewhere like this is a good risk to reward ratio we should get from this, but that's just a hypothesis, because there is no buy signal here whatsoever. There is no buy signal here, there's no buy signal here. I'm showing you what will happen once we will reach certain levels, which are much higher than the prices now. So as for now, we are not using those reversal patterns, which is definitely negative. But once we'll break certain resistances, you need to know what to do. You need to have an idea what the price is doing, and that's what I'm showing you right now. Let's see the next instrument, which is euro to Canadian dollar, which broke the long-term uptrend line, but yesterday created a small reversal. Sentiment is still negative, and the price can reach the horizontal resistance and this combination of this resistance and use that for a bounce. So in case of the euro to Canadian dollar, because yesterday's pin bar, we have a short-term positive sentiment, but long-term negative is still there. British pound to Japanese yen, I was waiting for the breakout of the combination of those ultimate supports, but it's not happening, and instead of breaking that, the price broke the horizontal resistance and is aiming higher. Fair enough. I won't argue with the price. I didn't sell. I was waiting for the price to break these levels. That's why you need to wait, because the situation may be looking negative, but there is no sell signal here whatsoever. You always have to wait. Now what we can create here is like here is like a flag or a wedge, which in theory should result with a further drop, but that's theory, and sell signal will be created once the price will break this. Here short-term sell signal, but here long-term sell signal. Oil is climbing higher and higher and higher. This line is getting steeper, so eventually it will be broken and we will have a take profit action, but so far so good. We are not seeing any bearish pressure here, so everything is good for now. British pound Australian dollar, here I am waiting for a major breakout, because you can see that all those bounces from this horizontal support, which is super important, as you can see, all those bounces are getting smaller and weaker, which in theory creates this descending triangle pattern. Here this bounce, look, this first bounce had 300 pips, second one had 200 pips, this one so far is having like 100 pips. So maybe according to the price action, what we should get something like that, an eventual breakout, and I will be waiting here. Well, I don't have a pending order, but I will be keeping my eye on this setup, and I would love to see the breakout and a very strong drop here. We will see how the situation will develop, with the potential target, first potential target being the green area. That also would create a nice risk to reward ratio trade, because if you sell here, stop loss somewhere here, 90 pips, take profit almost 300 pips. Well, fair enough, that's a good one. New Zealand dollar to Japanese yen. I was warning you about this hammer, and now instead of hammer we are even higher and we can get bullish engulfing. So it was a hammer till yesterday, but today the price is advancing much higher. The weekly candle is creating a bullish engulfing, because the opening of the week is lower, a closing of the week so far is higher. Bullish engulfing was here, for example, and it resulted in 3 bullish weeks. Fair enough. So this formation is respected here on this instrument, and you can use it for trading. I think that price closing, something like that, will be a very strong buy signal. The potential target is here. Let's see where the potential target can go. Yes, it's here. So unfortunately the stop loss would be wide, 100 pips, potential profit 200 pips, risk to reward ratio 2 to 1. Maybe we have better setups, but this one is still alright. Australian dollar to American dollar. Here also we do have this fight for this inverse head and shoulder formation, left shoulder, head and right shoulder. For the head and shoulder formation, we need to see the breakout of this blue line. First, this bounce is not happening in a random place. It's important horizontal support. Breakout of the blue line would be very positive, would mean a false breakout below, and we would have a potential target here. So also risk to reward ratio is not the best, but it's still all right. Yes, to be precise, it looks like that. Potential good setup will be denied once the price will break the lower line of this formation, because then it will mean a wedge, not an inverse head and shoulder formation. Euro to Australian dollar, that's a typical, it should result with a typical test of the broken support as a resistance, and we have something like that. Bearish price action here will be a super strong sell signal, because that will be a combination of three important resistances. We would have a trend line, we would have a lower line of the channel down formation, and a horizontal resistance. So a bearish price action here will be a very strong signal to sell. And by bearish price action here, I mean like a shooting star, bearish engulfing, head and shoulder, double top, etc. British pound to Canadian dollar. I had a short position here, somewhere here. It was doing alright, very good, but I moved my stop loss from here to the break-even point, and it got close somewhere here with on a break-even, so with a very small profit, like 10 euros. I don't have this position anymore. Maybe it will work out, maybe it will not. I don't care now. That's my mindset. This setup, I was hoping for, well, there should be no hope in trading. Let's say I was opening this position to gain more. I didn't lose. I got break-even point. Fair enough. Let's look for something else. Okay, make it more visible. That seems like a false breakout above the resistance. But now I cannot do anything with that. Maybe I'm not removing this chart because what we have here is a descending triangle. So the price may go here, bounce, 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 and eventual breakout to the downside. Australian dollar to Japanese yen, inverse head and shoulder formation. So we can see that on Australian dollar we do have those bullish dreams shaped like an inverse head and shoulder formations. We can see that here, we can see that here, we can see that here. It's all over the place. Here it looks quite decent because it's on a horizontal support and we're very close to the neckline. Like here we are far from the neckline. On Australian dollar to Canadian dollar we are well close to the neckline, but sellers bounced. But on Australian dollar to Japanese yen we are very close to the neckline and the buyers are putting pressure. Okay, those were instruments that we analyzed recently. Now we didn't analyze few instruments. Like I think we finished on somewhere here, euro to New Zealand dollar. So I think we can continue with analyzing row charts. I will tell you the decision-making process, how it looks like. Euro to New Zealand dollar. I think we analyzed this, but there is as far as I can see, there is a new development on the chart, because that's a beautiful head and shoulder formation here. Horizontal support like that, maybe lower, yes, to be safe, like that. That's the proper neckline. That's also like a double bottom a double top formation. Neckline here. Price getting here to this X will be a strong sell signal on Euro to New Zealand dollar. That's my estimation, with the potential target, to make it right, to make it precise. Yes, potential target here. Next one, dollar to Swiss franc. Sideways trend, very boring sideways trend. I don't like situations like that, so there is no trading setup for me. American dollar to Danish crown, I remember this perfectly. We had this rectangle here, well, triangle here. The price broke the upper line of the triangle and reversed. But for now, that's it. Very similar situation to American dollar to Singaporean dollar. Also, there was a beautiful trading setup. There is no beautiful trading setup anymore. The price is in a sideways trend, which should result with a further upswing. But for that, we have to wait and see. British pound to New Zealand dollar. Let's see this setup. I liked that hammer on that shooting star on a weekly chart, on a super important resistance, and there will be a major sell signal once we will break this black line and this one, because what will happen here will be a head and shoulder formation. Yes, okay, we need to adjust this to the current situation on the chart, like that. Left shoulder head and the right shoulder, breakout of the trend lines, breakout of the neckline. So that's a setup for the patient traders. If you're willing to wait for this like a few days or weeks, that's a setup for you. When the price will get to this X, we should get a major sell signal, like a super long term. British pound to Singaporean dollar. Let's see what the price is having for us here. That is a sell signal. There was this trend line that got broken. There is this head and shoulder formation here. Oh, it's a pity that we didn't see this. 26th of April. That was nice. Horizontal resistance here. What the price is doing, well, I think that the breakout of this lower line here triggers new sell signal, because that's what we're having here. It's just a correction of this downtrend, and we should see the breakout here and a further drop. Where is the potential target? Because you always need to think about targets of this movement. Potential target is here. And that uptrend line can be a problem. So this setup looks right, but the risk to reward ratio is not desirable. So maybe you can leave it. American dollar to Russian ruble. Let's see what's happening here. Okay. Oh, this setup is not tradable for me. There is an uptrend, there is a correction. It's a metric triangle. Breakout to the downside triggers sell signal, breakout to the upside triggers buy signal. Simple as that. Let me check silver, because silver, I didn't trade on a silver for a long time. Lower line of the triangle, upper line of the triangle. So yes, on silver, no trading signal here whatsoever. Very boring sideways trend. For the trading signal, we need to see breakout either of the lower or the upper line. Here we also do have a strong horizontal support. So yeah, this is an interesting setup. There is also a horizontal resistance here. So I'm gonna keep it on the chart because it looks interesting. Brent oil, not so much. Let me show you the dollar index. Why I don't analyze Brent? Because, well, I find WTI a bit more responsive to the technical analysis. And I already have WTI. So, and those instruments have high correlation. So no reason to analyze both of them at the same time. Dollar index in a positive territory, higher highs and higher lows. Even the short-term correction can happen, but the scenario seems more like that. We still have time for a few indexes. Let me check DAX. DAX, beautiful buy signal. Beautiful buy signal. This 12,900 points support. It was absolutely important here. End of the year, beginning of the new one, breakout. Then the price came back above, use that as a support and it's climbing higher. So there is a legitimate buy signal on DAX still. Let me also, okay, maybe this time we'll use like Nasdaq, because I always look at S&P 500. Nasdaq is having a buy signal. Well, I use it. Yeah, I use S&P 500 because for me, situation there is more technical. Like we had this, let's say, symmetric triangle pattern here, even like that. We failed to break the lower line of this formation. We break the upper line of this formation. Recent development here is a broken resistance, which became support. Even more, like, that's what we are having here is a pennant, which should result with a breakout of the upper line of this formation. But let me just change the colors for you. Do not confuse this pennant with a triangle. At the same time, a quick lesson, like those formations seems the same, but this is a triangle, this is a pennant. This is a pennant. What's the difference? Well, triangles are usually long-term formations. Pennants are quick, short-term formations. Triangles can go both ways, up or down, and pennants usually also can go both ways, but the thing is that triangle can be trend reversal or trend continuation pattern, and pennant can be trend, is usually trend reversal. Can be everything, but usually is a trend continuation, I'm sorry. So triangles, trend reversal, trend continuation pattern, and pennants, trend continuation patterns. So we can see a few new interesting setups. On Monday, I will make an analysis of Bitcoin for you. As you can see, those three instruments are failing to break those resistances, which may be a huge problem for them because everything was ready for an upswing. On gold, what is happening is a descending triangle pattern. We have few patterns in the same time, like triple bottom formation, and we can get a descending triangle here, which will be super negative for gold. But we will see how the situation will develop. Here, downswing on gold will be also negative for Australian dollar, because that's a commodity currency. But I think like today we added few interesting setups to our charts. Thanks very much guys for attending the daily analytical report. In the meantime, I think it would be nice if you follow us on Twitter and watch our YouTube channel and visit our website alpari.news. Now half an hour break, and in half an hour we'll have an educational webinar with Alpari. So thanks very much and goodbye.